We are live right now. When I met Jan, when I met Jan, when I met Jan, when I met Jan. Hey, it's 12 o'clock. Greetings and salutations. Guess who is here? It's me and Jan. Woo! We are so excited to be here. We are so excited to be here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this out real quick because we are live and in action, and then we're gonna tell you about the conference. I'm gonna start it off, and then we're gonna talk about when I first met Jan. Oh, it's tickling me. Yeah, I got the silly today because I slept on an airplane. Yeah. So yeah, I might be a whole different form of Kenitra going on. If y'all come in, y'all y'all let me know. Hey Mindy, what's up, Mindy? I love it. Mindy is on point. All right, so I'm sharing this. Copy the link. I'm just gonna drop this bad boy in Facebook right quick and keep the party going. All right. I'm gonna say we are live. Oh, look at us. Cute. It's got the little image and everything. All right, publish. Boom. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. This is your girl. Hey Kenya, what's up, y'all? Y'all, we gonna behave ish, maybe. We're gonna see. Y'all see, I have my sister on the screen with us. Look, she is GFT tribe. Okay. She's all the way in Indianapolis, but she is team Grace for this. Period, point blank. She's always online showing support. We're always just exchanging, championing one another back and forth. What's up, Monica? Hey, y'all, squad coming in. If it's somebody who you know is typically here, y'all go ahead and tag them in and let them know that we are here. So I'm excited because one, I want to tell y'all about this conference, and then we're going to tell y'all about hashtag when I met Jan. Y'all use that hashtag today. All right. We're really going to have fun because people need to hear the stories. People need to hear our stories. But before I talk about the conference, Jan, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit, y'all, because there's so much we can say. We were just talking about how many things we could actually say. Just give a brief introduction of yourself, Jan. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me on this show and having me a part of this magnificent conference that I know is going to be off the hook. My name is Jan Mitchell. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. I am a native of Indianapolis. I am a mother. I am a widow. I am an entrepreneur. I'm also an employee rather. I'm a book author and I'm a certified grief coach, a licensed mental health first aider, and so many other things. So glad to have this platform and be able to share this platform with Miss Kenitra today, my sister in Christ and my grace for this sister. Yes, I am part of the tribe. So thank you all for welcoming me.
Yes, y'all drop some love in the comments for Jan. Drop some love in the comments. So I'm excited about Grace for this. One, because the Lord told me to do it. And all of this is all of him. So anything you see, please understand the Lord orchestrated it. It is not Kenitra. Kenitra will really sit at the house and mind her business. But y'all see me because the Lord said, hey, you like to talk, go talk to the people, tell them what's up. So I follow instructions, okay? So I'm excited to have Jan as our keynote, one of our keynote speakers for Grace for This, because Grace for This, y'all know, is all about women of faith having community to take ownership of their wellness journey in 3 ways. Y'all know what it is: personally, relationally, and professionally. I say it all the time. Women of faith taking ownership of their wellness journey personally, relationally, and professionally. And my catalyst for really hunkering down and starting to own my wellness journey, and the fact that I did not have any wellness skill set around how I function, was the death of my husband. Y'all know I love me some Gerald Chewbacca. Yes, my baby's middle name was Chewbacca. Yes, Gerald Chewbacca Mason. So let me get that. That's a space heater. Hold on. I can't burn up my new bag. And I can't burn up myself. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. The devil knocked over the space heater. I'm coming back. Hold on, I'm coming. Okay. I think we good. Okay. Apologies. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. The space heater fell over. Something happened with Jan. All right. Now everything happened all at the same time. First of all, this space heater not about to burn up my mustard colored tote carry bag. We're not going to do that. We're not gonna do that. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all for y'all patience. So what I was saying was, yeah, my catalyst for taking ownership of my wellness journey was the death of my husband. And so it really made me realize I was missing a whole set of skills because I had subscribed to a religious mindset or faith it till you make it, type of lifestyle. And it wasn't healthy, and I'll just say it wasn't healthy. I was gonna say it's not necessarily effective, but it's not healthy. We have to apply faith appropriately, and we have to apply faith with works. And so what I learned was that I understood my faith, I understood what I believed in, but my application of it was not caring for me as a human being. So I really started to lean into it. I had a grief coach. It wasn't Jan, but she can speak to that for you guys a little bit. But I had a grief coach. Her name was Heather. Y'all know Heather. Heather is Team Grace for This as well, and y'all see Heather at Grace for This events. And so I had to lean into it. And as I began to lean into it, I began to learn so much about myself. I learned a whole bunch about myself, and the part of me, the human part of me that I had not cared for with any grace at all for a very, very long time. So I'm gonna pull Jan back up, and we're gonna talk about Jan's story. All right. I don't want to talk about me. I want y'all to understand Jan, and I want y'all to know a little bit about her background, and I want y'all to know her story. Mic check, Jan. You good?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
So you're good. So I would like for you to share some of your story. I guess with like your husband and how you decided to go into the grief coaching, like a little bit about your journey, so they can know the Jan that I already know. I already know Jan. I'm just saying we trying to let y'all know. Okay.
Yes, thank you again. Sorry about that. To Xfinity, y'all are just ghetto. But but again, my name is Jan Mitchell. A little bit about my journey. I became a widow in 2017. Hey, hello. I became a widow in 2017. I lost my husband, Stephen Mitchell, who was a minister and elder actually at our church that I had previously attended here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, Miss Mindy. Hello, ladies. And, we were married for 5.5 years. We were a blended family. So I came with 2 daughters from a previous relationship. He came with 1 daughter, and then we had 1 together. So we have all girls. And me and Steve were married for 5.5 years. He suffered with lupus, which had quite a few other ailments attached to it, and which ended up leading to a spinal cord injury. Just the short end of the story, is spinal cord injury, and which eventually led to him becoming septic in the hospital. And then shortly afterwards, there was a demise of his life. And from that journey, I learned how I had to regain and relearn how to be single again. Even though I had only been married for 5.5 years, there was a difference that it made. Becoming married, you learn to become one with another individual. You begin to learn what they like, what you like together, what you still like as an individual, and how that combines and works together for a common goal and purpose. Now, as a vision together, as a unit, as a family, as a husband and wife partnership. So when I lost my marriage through my husband's death, there was a part of me that I had to reconnect to. And I had to get to know me again, and not know me in the old sense of knowing Jan, but knowing Jan in the new sense of knowing Jan. Knowing Jan as a widow, knowing Jan as a woman, knowing Jan as a mother, and everything else that would come aboard. I decided to go into grief coaching a couple of years after the fact. It was not the first thing on my mind. I had actually not even considered it. And because I wanted to, like most people, I just wanted to go through the process of grief and, heal from it and not just merely survive it. I think that's very important. I didn't want to be just a survivor of grief and loss. I wanted to be an overcomer and a conqueror. And so, shortly after I ended up becoming widowed, I had three other friends who also became widowed shortly after I did in a few years. And all of us were under 50 or mid 50 and down. So all young widows. And there were a lot of questions we all had, a lot of support we provided to one another during those times. And during that moment, that's when I wrote my first book, which I met through a group of ladies through Facebook. As I would tell anyone, I've been off social media for at least 15 years. When I got married in 2011, I decided we need to work on building a family and getting to know each other. And I pulled back off social media. And I did not return back into social media until the pandemic. So I am fairly new to the renewed rather to social media and the social media light and being put in the spotlight like this. So it's a lot different for me. It's a different lifestyle, but I'm learning to embrace what God has for me in this season.
That's awesome. Look, that was you ain't have to stop because my face came back up. that was
you have to cap me.
Look, that was a perfect segue. I love that you ended at the point of embrace because I've got a shirt and it was kind of a theme for us. And y'all let us know if y'all tracking in the comments. That was kind of a theme for the month of, I guess it was the month of March. Be still, hear God, and embrace grace for this. And we have to just commit to embracing the fact that we don't know what's coming. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we have to trust that God has given us the grace, a measurable amount of grace for our individual journeys. We cannot compare ourselves to the lady to our left and the lady to the right, the relationship to our left, the relationship to our right, the entrepreneur on our left, and the entrepreneur on our right. We all have a unique individual journey, and we're graced for our specific journey. So did y'all catch the fact that she was married for 5.5 years? Her husband acquired a spinal cord injury, and when he passed away, it was from complications related to sepsis. That is my same story.
Wow.
Literally same story. So imagine how taken aback I was to see this beautiful young lady confident and boldly sharing her story. Oh my gosh, you got to tell them about the books. And she's got 2 books, and they're both titled Suddenly Single, and the second one is The Widow Edition. I want to connect some dots for you guys real quick, because even though we're talking about, yes, Kenya, even though we're talking about grief from our perspective as widows, you still grieve transitions in your life. You grieve relationships. And Jan, can you speak to that from the perspective of the first Suddenly Single, so that, our listeners don't think that your session is just for widows?
Yes, absolutely. I think that was great that you stated that. And even as a certified grief coach, we're taught many aspects of grief, not just one primarily focusing on widows, but also grief of the divorce. The first book that I wrote and collaborated with 5 other beautiful women. Coach Venus Chandler is the visionary for the Suddenly Single vision, and it dealt with all the other women in the books were divorced. They talked about the breakup and the ending of their marriage through divorce or separation, or even just a breakup. And, some people just had breakups. They weren't necessarily married to the individuals, but they broke up. And even at our age, we still go through grief behind the loss, because any loss brings grief. It brings those different stages of grief: the denial, the anger, the frustration, the acceptance, the sadness, everything that we go through as people who are grieving. That is found in that session. That is found also when we're talking about grief in general, in its general form. You could be grieving the loss of a job. It could be grieving the loss of a pet, the grief of a loss of a church home and family. And I went through a lot of those griefs, even after, friendships, after my husband, even passed. I was still in the same ministry, but then they ended up closing up because of other challenges that came up. So that was another loss. And then my mother-in-law and father-in-law died a couple of years later after the fact. And so there were multiple losses. There were multiple friendships I lost because I was no longer married. So there to Steve. So there were friendships and relationships there that were lost. So grief it impacts us in every shape, form, and fashion that we can imagine. Even my job, I didn't lose my previous job. I walked away from it because I needed a fresh start. But then again, it was still a loss because I had been there for several years. And so there are multiple layers of grief, that you can experience based on any set thing in that particular moment.
That was so good. You covered an excellent array of types of triggers or catalysts for us experiencing grief. And I want to talk about the acceptance, and this could go into she moves forward, or it could go into a little bit of the coaching. But can you speak to those of us who are in a place where
Glitching a little bit. Can you hear me okay? Sorry, guys. I think we're having a little technical difficulty. I've lost Miss Kenitra.
mic check 1 2. Okay,
Okay.
we're back.
Can you hear?
Sorry,
I believe so.
my phone overheated.
Oh, okay.
That's
Lord.
what it was. My phone overheated. Okay, but I think had you started answering me already?
I had, and I was getting ready to,
It's
right.
in the middle of that question. Okay, so I'll pick it back up. Sorry, y'all. We apologize.
Yeah,
But Sister
sorry,
Tia
guys.
is tracking us. Yeah, one stage of loss can ripple down to others that were tied to that one. Very good point. Very good point, especially with relationships and divorce and things. It affects the other relationships that you have built together over time. So, Jan, I was going to invite you to speak to those of us who are aware of the transition, and we're trying to push through it because we know there's something on the other side of it, but it's just really, really challenging to push through, still acknowledge what it is, and kind of take some takeaways, like actually take takeaways and build with them. What would you say to somebody who is really trying to lean into their next season of life, but still having to accept, the realities that they're experiencing?
Yes, great question. First thing I would say is breathe. Breathe. Accept, truly embrace and accept where you are, accept who you are and where you're at. And I love what Kenitra said earlier. It's not a rat race. You don't have to compare your journey to anyone else's. You don't have to move at the speed of anyone else. But it is imperative that you do make a step because you don't want to become stagnant. Stagnant leads to death. And you want to make sure that you're moving forward. Be prayerful. Ask God to give you the strength. And I always say, surround yourself with a team of people who understand and support your journey where you're at. They may not necessarily um, understand. And a lot of times we'll say, oh, this person, um, doesn't understand me. And how do I move it from there? Or even how I move it. Because again, you're rediscovering who you are in this new place, in this new season of your life. And it's just taking one step at a time. Sit down with yourself and with God and journal out who am I at this stage of my life? What do I like? Where do I want to go? And where do I see? How do I get there? Sometimes it's as simple as writing a list, writing the vision and making it plain. Sometimes we're trying to run and we have no vision in sight. So then we get stagnant because then we're like, okay, I don't know where to run or what to run to. But if you sit down and get quiet with your thoughts, get quiet with God, and ask yourself, okay, what is it? Okay, I've been through this situation. I know I'm not the same anymore. And you shouldn't be, because you should be stronger. You should be wiser. What did I learn from this experience? It's a good question to ask yourself. And that may be a hard thing to learn. I learned through the death of my husband that marriage was a gift. And sometimes we take those gifts for granted. I learned so much about me. I learned that I was resilient, that I had more strength in that I possessed than I knew. And then what I took with that, because I truly believe that what the Word of God says, that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. Ask God, okay, what is the purpose behind my suffering? What is my takeaway? What do I want? Where do I see again myself at? How's this going to benefit me? Because sitting back, grieving it, having a pity party day in and day out, okay, it serves its purpose for a season. But even the Word of God teaches us over in Ecclesiastes, there's a time and a season for everything. So how do we move forward? It may mean some separation. It may mean separating yourself from old places and old people that keep you attached to your previous season. A lot of times we're trying to drag people along and make them understand and make them feel what we're going to feel. And they were good for that season. Don't knock the season that they were in and were good and beneficial for. Please don't do that. Be grateful for them and how they served you in that season, but also know it's okay to move forward. Notice it's okay to say, okay, I appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate how you served, and I appreciate it. And if they're in it for the long haul, then allow them to be there in that space. And one very simple thing I learned too, even through the grief process, the older, wiser woman told me this, and I'll always share this because it helped me so much. Don't be upset with people when they have to move forward with their lives. Give people grace to move forward with theirs. Now, you may be still kind of battling some things, and that's okay. Give yourself grace, but also allow them grace to be who they are for that season in your life. And then be gracious to yourself to allow yourself to move forward and know that it's okay to move forward. And I said this on the previous broadcast, and I say it often, the person that you're moving forward from, whether it's through death or divorce, there's no hurt feelings before for you to move on. A lot of times we struggle with guilt, we struggle with doubt. Oh man, what if they were here? Well, the reality is they're not, but you are. How are you going to stay present in this moment? How do you stay connected? And I even encourage therapy. If you feel like you need therapy, see a therapist. You can have God and therapy. See a therapist and look for those steps to move forward. And there's practical things you can do to move forward as well too. And again, it may mean relocating. It may mean, and when I say relocated, I don't mean just get up and leave, because that's a lot of times we run into that. We get up and we run here, we run there, but we still haven't resolved the issue. Be healed first. And then if it's time for you to move, you may have to move. And again, part of your, again, I know it sounds kind of contradictory, But yes, sometimes you may have to go back and say, okay, I need to separate here because this person, this thing, this place is reminding me of my grief. It's reminded me of the things I've had that I no longer have access to. I just had to do a cleansing myself yesterday. I had to get rid of some stuff that kept me tethered to a person who has passed. I had to let go. Was it uncomfortable? Heck yeah, it was uncomfortable. But I had to do it for my peace sake. I had to get rid of the things that would keep me bound to the past. There's nothing wrong with keeping memorials of your loved ones. I will never ever discourage anyone from doing what feels best for you. That's not my job and that's not my place. However, I will say if that thing is causing you stress, if it's triggering trauma triggers, if it's causing you to go be set back in your mindset when you're going forward, then you may want to reconsider and consider letting those things go. And I know that doesn't sound comfortable. You may have to, and I'm okay. I better stop talking because I can even, even when it comes with Steve. Steve is buried 8 hours away from me. He's in another state altogether. There was a season I kept going. I would go and visit his grave, put fresh flowers down, go to his grave, fresh flowers. But after a while, when I made up my mind that it was time for me to be healed and move forward, then I made the decision to stop visiting. Will I ever visit again? I probably will. But am I committed to going every year faithfully like I did? No, I'm not. Why? Because I'm in a new season. I am in a healed place. And so I operate from a healed place. And it's okay to operate from that healed place. It's okay to be healed. I know a lot of times we say and we hear people say it's okay not to be okay. And it is. But it's also okay to be healed. It's okay to be set free. It's okay to move forward. It is okay to be whole. And so that's what we have to remember, and that's what we have to do. Oh, Kenitra, I see your message here. All right, I'm going to hop over to IG for you. Do I just leave here? Or